What's the most personal thing you're willing to share with us? Ever since I've become physically disabled, I feel like a huge burden on everyone in my life. If I weren't married, I'd just kill myself. My family wouldn't have to support me, and I wouldn't have to be in constant pain, missing my functioning body and ability to work. I literally miss being able to work retail, and retail is a special hell of its own low. I'm still in my 20s and can barely walk even with my cane some days. I spent 23 years of my life in constant movement doing physical jobs, hobbies, everything. And now I have to relearn life without that. Oh, and in its place crippling pain. Plus, you lose so many people. At first people are nice and even supportive, but then they see you aren't improving. You're a bummer to hang out with, and it's a pain to have to plan around stairs and standing too long, and seating options. People talk to you in a weirdly condescending way, like you're a slightly dumb child everyone pities. I can't support myself and help my family like I used to. My old life is as gone as my city body. I hate my body so much sometimes it feels like an Iron Maiden around me. I just want one day without pain, but it won't happen. The only way to escape this pain would be to die. But then I'd be passing that pain to my spouse and family, and that city too. So I'm stuck. I'm trying to find something in the ashes of my life to start anew, but it's so hard when I'm already physically weak and mentally effed. I just don't know what to do anymore. This is small fish compared to a lot of you, but I recently started trying to teach myself piano. I'm terrible but getting better. I don't want to tell anyone because I get major anxiety and can't perform. Haha, yes, sex jokes, when I'm put on the spot. I found out my mom's cancer has spread to her bones today. I just want to make sure she's able to keep as much comfort and dignity as she can with the time she may have left. There's a decent chance I may have multiple sclerosis. I've been having mild problems with balance, coordination and hand tremors for 6 months or so. Won't know much more until I see my neurologist again. I got PTSD last year from seeing my father get murdered. I'm afraid I'm gonna be stuck at my job for the rest of my life because I don't know what else I'm good at. It's not a bad job, but at DOESNT really pay great and the hours are odd. It's not really something I want to be doing for too much longer, but IDK, what else to do? I sharted on a blanket and threw it away. I played dumb to my girlfriend for about a half a year while she was constantly puzzled as to what happened to the blanket every time we sat down on the couch to watch TV. I finally broke down and confessed. People ask why I'm single, and I tell them because I'm too busy or have no time, but the truth is, I don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. I always self-sabotage and do something wrong when I start seeing someone, and so it never really ends well all the time. I prefer to be alone since at least I don't get hurt. I'm 3.5 years into the career I dreamed about as a child, and I can't effing stand it anymore. I have no backup plan and I feel guilty that so many people I cared about cheered me on to follow my dreams. I don't tell my friends, but they are pretty much the biggest thing keeping my anxiety and depression at bay, and I really appreciate them for it. I'd like to tell them but don't know how to bring it up. I'm 31 and still have 2 baby teeth. I was evicted from my childhood home when I was 15. My mom couldn't keep the place up by herself after my brother moved out. She didn't know what to tell me, so she didn't. She had me take a bag with me when we went to my stepdad's for a weekend over the summer. A weekend turned into 2 weeks, turned into a month, and turned into the entire summer. Finally she told me what had happened, and because she didn't know how to tell me, she chose not to. I lost everything, and slept on stepdad's living room sofa for 2.5 years. It's one thing to have lost my material belongings that can be replaced like my computer, video game consoles and such, but I lost irreplaceable things like the memory box I started when I was 7, my childhood photos, and all the dolls my dad had given me throughout the years. My dad has been gone 5 years now, and those dolls are something I wish, if nothing else, I could have saved. I didn't cry when I found out one of my friends from high school killed himself. It was almost half a year ago and not one tear has leaked yet. I knew him for years. We took our black belt tests together, and I was the stage manager for the high school theater and he did lighting. I had to break the news to so many people, and yet I felt no sadness. As a guy who attempted the same thing not a year previously, I'm still frustrated at my lack of emotion towards it all, especially when I see our friends posting about how much they still miss him. My mother just kicked a hole in the wall. I'm on Reddit trying to calm down since none of my friends are awake. Whenever I'm alone with my own thoughts, I can shift moods in legitimate seconds. 1 second I'll be dancing around my room super happy and the next moment I'll be bawling on the floor hating myself. It's a literal emotional roller coaster. I think my dad could be struggling with something. He's a pretty reserved guy who keeps to himself most of the time and likes to be alone often. The fear of dying has overran my life for at least 9 years. My anxiety disorder is more severe than I let on. When I am alone, it is pure hell. I both long for and am afraid of intimacy. I prefer to be alone, yet always feel lonely. I carry a picture of my female friend with me at all times. It's hidden in my wallet. I wouldn't say I have strong feelings for her, but I just like looking at a picture of someone that has been there for me even when times were rough. I stick toilet paper in my underwear before going for a walk so my underwear doesn't get as much sweat on it. I feel like I'm overreacting when it comes to my mental health. I think I'm depressed or anxious. I've contemplated suicide multiple times, but I'm too scared to say anything, especially to any professionals, because it might not be good enough. My mother, a schizophrenic drug addict, screamed help me before putting a revolver in her mouth and pulling the trigger. I was the only one home and wasn't able to dissuade her. I was a young child. I've had nightmares every night since, for 17 years. The only time I'm able to sleep soundly is when my partner is sleeping next to me. He unknowingly heals my worst trauma just by snoring and holding me close. Haha. I had a urethroplasty. My entire urethra from the tip of my dick to my prostate was replaced with skin tissue grafted from the inside of my cheek. It was a long, painful, and humbling recovery. Edit. So many great questions and comments. I'm doing great now. So glad I had the surgery. For those who need the surgery as well, make sure your urologist has done this many times before. I was lucky to have one of the best doctors at performing this procedure. While the physical recovery was painful, the psychological recovery was even more of a struggle. Waking up to morning wood, sharp shooting pain in the first few days and weeks was tough. I struggled to sleep much. I ended up seeing a therapist because I was afraid of getting a boner. My therapist diagnosed me with PTSD. I've used mindfulness and little blue pills to overcome it and no longer have an issue. My wife and I are pregnant with our second kid. I wish it whistled when I peed. Fun fact, grafts from inside my cheek was used because it's the only accessible tissue without hair follicles. Someone posted that until I never knew my father. My brother was always more upset about it than I was. The father guy ran away when I was less than a year old. He later killed someone, went to jail, and now is living in an assisted living facility on parole. We did not know his real name until recently. My mother named my brother after him, so we found out that the name was fake. But my brother's middle name turns out to be my father's real name coincidentally. Could you imagine the dude's reaction when my mother suggested the middle name? That would have been funny to see. Today I cut contact with my ex-girlfriend for the sake of my mental health. I'm actually already feeling better. In my 21 years I have never been in a relationship or even kissed another person. That wasn't family. I talk to myself constantly. Sometimes I talk to myself in the mirror when I think I look good. While driving alone I have full-blown conversations with myself. Other drivers have noticed before and it was pretty embarrassing. I would love to run away for, like a year, and just not give a shit about anything as long as my kids wouldn't hate me and be cared for, and I didn't have any fallout in my marriage. I wouldn't cheat, I'd just go and not worry about bills or politics or if I screwed my kid up too bad today. I'd DK if this counts. I contemplate suicide because I feel like I'm not cut out to do responsible adult stuff. I haven't had depression, that I know of, for years, but I wildly fantasize about dying. My dream is to drive or take a train to a city at night, buy some snacks, eat them on the overpass as I watch the lights and then jump off, inevitably leading to my death. It gives me excited butterflies thinking about it and I don't know why. Had the fantasy since I was 14-ish. I'm now 22. Never told anyone until now. I'm finally facing the ugly truth of age and mortality. My parents and a few other relatives who are in their early 60s now are having a multitude of health complications from mental illness to cancer and it's scaring the shit out of me. I'm only 26, and I think back to when I was a kid and everyone was perfectly fine. Just doesn't seem that long ago. I got a call from Be The Match, the National Bone Marrow Donor Registry, on Friday. It seems I came up as a possible match for a 9-year-old boy with leukemia. I just finished signing consent forms and filling out the medical questionnaire today, and I have some further testing to confirm the match later this week. I rubbed one out in a bathroom stall at my friend's bar mitzvah ceremony. I had recently learned how to find porn on the internet, and Pamela Anderson got the best of me circa 1995. My girlfriend since high school has schizophrenia. I love her with all my heart, but there are days when it's really hard. I am patient with her and try helping her and convincing her to take her meds. There have been months where she isn't herself and breaks up with me. That's the hardest cause. Even though I know she's doing it cause her condition, I can't force her to be with me. She has never been with other man, and damn, she is the love of my life. She shines like no one else I've ever seen. My family and friends would prefer I left her, but they know I won't and they respect that, which is nice, I guess. We have been self-harming free for the last 3 months, which is also nice. I've been dating the most wonderful guy for a month now, and I have anxiety every day because he's so sweet and affectionate, and I feel like I'm not worthy of it, and he'll realize soon that he can do much better than me. I'm currently 347 days clean from self-harm. I was beaten to the point of miscarriage when I was 17. I now cannot have children. My boyfriend is abusive. 2 weeks ago, he choked me out while we were showering together. I woke up on the bathtub floor screaming and crying. I don't know why I didn't end it that day. I'm going to break up with him this morning because yesterday he started, for the umpteenth time, begging me to wear makeup even though I hate it because I look ugly as sit without it. I was recently diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's. I had a foursome with my girlfriend, best friend and his girlfriend after drinking one night. We have not talked about it since.